So the Breaking Bad panel and the Better Call Saul panel are the hottest ticket in town in Comic Con.
No.
How do you guys are feeling about this expectation from your fans?
I didn't know it was the hottest ticket in town until you told me. Boy, I love hearing that. Isn't that great news?
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. I mean, to be in the big hall here is such. It's like a dream come true. So we couldn't be more thrilled.
That Hall H is an amazing experience for folks who've never been to Comic-Con. It's you're up on stage and you're looking all the way to the back, and the people are this big in the distance at the end of it's a long rectangular room, and you can't believe how big it is and how many people are in it. 6,500 people. Amazing. And the fact that 10 years after Breaking Bad started, we're still celebrating it, and the fact we're celebrating this wonderful new show. It's not even that new anymore, but this wonderful current show, Better Call Saul, all of the same universe. It's a marvelous feeling.
And when the show started, Breaking Bad, when this universe started, it was not such a hit as it is now. I mean, are you surprised that it's growing and growing and growing, and people is still discovering Walter White every day?
Yes, did you ever see any of this coming? I didn't.
I couldn't. I knew that I loved it. I knew that I thought it was terrific, and I was. But I didn't think it would turn into such a tidal wave. I mean, it's really the biggest thing. It's bigger than I could have ever imagined, and I'm so grateful that people have taken to it. And it means a lot that they're fascinated by these characters, and the fact that you go on the internet and there's all this wonderful art. People are drawing Walter White, they're drawing Jesse Pinkman, they're drawing Saul Goodman. They're reinterpreting these characters through their own artistic vision. That is wonderful. For me, the greatest thing, the way to live as a writer is to create a character who lives on beyond. I'm thinking of like Sherlock Holmes or Captain Ahab. And I think Vince might have created some characters who are going to live for a really long time. I'm hoping.
Well, it was a group effort. It wasn't just me. It wasn't just me. But I like the fact that here at Comic-Con, a good analogy would be it's like the Blob. Remember the movie The Blob? It keeps growing bigger and bigger and bigger and taking everything over. That's what we're hoping for.
It's the best blob ever.
Space fungus. That's what we want.
Okay, and about Better Call Saul, funny enough, it's closer to Breaking Bad it has been from what I heard. I mean, how much restraint did you have to put in the beginning of the show not to be so close to Breaking Bad?
Peter uses the phrase self-discipline, and that's a good phrase. Self-discipline and restraint, it took a lot of that, especially in the beginning, because you kind of want to throw the kitchen sink into it, as we say. You kind of want to shoot the works and have all the Breaking Bad people from the first episode on, but it was quite a bit of self-discipline.
I think the other part of it in addition was I personally had a fear, because I felt that we had gotten everything had just worked out perfectly for the ending of Breaking Bad, and I was and am so proud of the work we did on Breaking Bad. I didn't want to throw that into a negative light. I didn't want to be the bad sequel, the spin-off. And I think one of the things that we thought about a lot was, how do we give the show its own identity? I mean, we're not going to be telling the story of Walter White. It's a different show. And so we worked really hard to keep it in the same universe, really just because that's the way we see things,
yeah.
but also to give the show its own identity. And that's maybe one of the things I'm most proud of, is that I think that Better Call Saul is standing beside Breaking Bad and not completely overshadowed by the mothership.
That's true. It is. Better Call Saul is its own show. I really thought, well, it'll be a good additional. What's the word? It'd be a nice bookend or something.
Mm-hmm.
Into Breaking Bad. It is so its own creation. It's so its own show. It's its own thing. It stands on its own 2 feet. And people all the time come up to me and say, I really like Breaking Bad, but I like Better Call Saul even more. And I love hearing that. I love hearing that.
Now, in this season, you are bringing a new character, and a Latin American character, from what I heard. And how difficult is to bring somebody new that has to create the same kind of adoration in a way in the audience at all the other characters that you have?
Which, yeah, I guess you got to start with casting the right person. Right?
Yeah, we have the best casting people in the business. Bialy, Thomas, they are remarkable. And one of the things that's so remarkable about them is that they have an international reach. And this season, more than any other, our casting has an international reach. It's to Latin America, maybe some other places too. And we were, really it all comes from the performers. We try to write characters who interest us and who are the right characters for the story. But it is words on the page are very, very important, but they are words on the page until the actor comes in and creates a dimension and a performance. And I have to say, this season we have some people who came in who are brand new, who I think stand beside some of the best that we've seen so far.
Yeah, that's the truth. Got some great actors this year.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait for people to see them.
Yes.
Great characters. It all started in the writer's room with Peter and the writers coming up with these amazing new characters. And then Bialy Thomas did a great job finding these folks. I can't wait for people to see this new season, see some of these, meet some of these new characters.
Finally, what was the best advice you have received in your careers?
Best advice? Gosh, that's a good question. I've gotten a lot of good advice, and I've learned a lot from watching other people make mistakes, and I've certainly learned a lot from making my own. Probably don't be too afraid of failure. Mm-hmm. Failure is the natural human state. It is something we all wish to avoid, and yet it is the thing that we learn from the most in life. And you want to avoid failure, but you shouldn't fear it in a phobic sense. You should embrace it when it does inevitably happen, and learn from it and be a better person because of it.
Thank you. You have a
Well, I actually, my first agent didn't really help me all that much career-wise, but he did give me two words that I think about every once in a while. Be bold, boldness is not something that comes naturally to me, but creatively, it's really the same. It's really another way of putting the same thing that Vince said, is if we're not a little bit scared of what we're doing, if we're sure it's going to work, then we're probably playing it too safe. That's the more I've worked, the more I believe that, and the less scared of failure I become.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah.